on. We are continuing on with Exploring Creation with Zoology 3, Land Animals of the Sixth Day. We are now...
I know, Roger. We did that a long time ago.
Oops, we're now on Lesson 3. I tried to skip a whole chapter. Let's go back. We are now on... Turn the page. Lesson 3. Caniforms continued. So now we're moving out. Well, we did some canines, but we're moving on to others. And I think you're only going to read one section because it's several pages long.
And Mommy's here, so it might be loud.
Right. The kids are there. I don't know that I can sit and read holding it that way. We'll see. Okay. Here we go. Let's show you the picture first. Bears are considered caniforms even though they do not behave like dogs. So bears are in the same category as dogs.
Yeah,
okay?
I know dogs.
Yeah, some dogs are mean, just like.
That's just how they're categorized together.
And some bears are mean. Just.
Okay, here we go.
Yes.
In the Bible, God asked Job, "Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons or lead out the bear with its cubs?" If you have studied astronomy, you know that the bear and cubs mentioned here in the constellation Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Ursa is the Latin word for bear. What's the Latin word for bear?
Dad.
Edward and Gwen. What is the Latin word for bear?
Nothing.
Ursa.
Ursa.
Gwenny. Ursa. Looking at the bear on the right, you can see why bears are considered caniforms. Oh, can you see why bears are considered caniforms? This particular bear has a very dog-like look, doesn't it? Well, bears may look a bit like dogs, but they don't act like dogs. Bears prefer to live alone unless it's a mother bear with her cubs. Bears share many features with other kinds of animals. This is because the same designer God created all the animals and used similarities in design when creating them, just like the way all the pictures of a particular artist look similar. Unlike dogs, bears are able to stand on two legs comfortably. And they sit with their legs straight out in front of them. Also, unlike dogs, they're plantigrades. This is your new big word. Plantigrades. Can you say plantigrades?
Plantigrades.
Plantigrades. Can you guess what that means? Think about a similar word you learned in the previous lesson. We learned about digitigrades. They refer to animals. Oh, Winry, you're coloring in the book. Goodness. They refer to animals that walk on their toes. Plantigrades are animals that don't walk on their toes. They use their entire bottom of the foot. Monkeys, raccoons, and rabbits are all also plantigrades.
Raccoons.
You know what a raccoon is, yes. As a creationist, we think that bears we see today probably all descended from one pair that God saved on the ark. From there, bears have spread throughout the world. Though bears today have many special features or variations, such as the partially webbed paw and the white fur of the polar bear, all bears share similar genes. There have been bears found that are part grizzly bear and part polar bear, named Pizzly bears. Pizzly bears. I didn't know that. So different species of bears are able to mate and produce young. In God's creation, then, there's probably only one bear kind, though scientists have separated them into different species. Here's another picture of a bear.
Oh, is that bear mean?
I think he's just yawning.
Baby bear.
Yep, there's a baby bear.
It can't hurt us.
Right.
Well, Mom, how can it climb trees? Big bears.
Baby bears can climb trees. I think some big bears can too. You have to ask Grandpa Alderton or Daddy. He'd know more than Mommy. Even though most bears are predominantly vegetarians, their teeth classify them in order carnivora. Carnivora. You may be surprised to learn that bears are mostly vegetarians. In fact, they can survive and even thrive eating only vegetation. So why on earth are they classified in order carnivora? Do you remember what features scientists look for to put an animal in order carnivora? If you say their teeth, you have a great memory. Bears have carnassial teeth, but most bears prefer fruits, roots, shoots, and nuts, as well as the occasional insect and fish. Because such a huge animal lives on a diet of mainly vegetables, it spends almost every waking moment looking for food and eating. Can you imagine eating all the time when you're awake?
Yes.
That would be a lot of eating. You wouldn't be playing with the Legos right now. You'd be eating or looking for food to eat.
But I love that baby bear. I want to be with it.
I don't think it would be a safe idea to be with baby bears. That makes mommy bears very upset.
Why?
Because they're afraid you'll hurt them. Most bears will eat if it's an easy catch or they have a hankering for something more substantial. Will eat meat.
That bear would eat me.
Not the baby bear, but the mama bear could, or at least kill you. Most bears will eat meat if it's an easy catch or they have a hankering for something more substantial. The polar bear...
That bear is missing one big teeth.
Yeah, it is. Good catch. I didn't notice that. The polar bear is the only bear that must eat meat, and that's the main kind of food available in the frozen area in which it lives. The panda on the opposite end of the food spectrum will rarely eat anything but bamboo. It is an herbivorous carnivore. Imagine that. We'll learn more about each of these bears in a moment.
Mom, I have 2 phones like these.
Okay, but Gwynnie, that's not science. Have you ever heard the nursery rhyme, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear? Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. I'm telling you right now. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? Well, in addition to not being fuzzy, Fuzzy Wuzzy was likely not even a bear because all bears have hair.
All
Actually,
bears have hair.
Fuzzy Wuzzy could have been a newborn bear because cubs are born with almost no hair. They begin to grow hair not long after birth. The hair comes in 4 basic varieties depending on the species: brown, black, gold, or white. Bears are predominantly one color with other colors providing distinctive markings. Bears can smell as well or better than dogs.
Are you hiding from
Winnie, you may not talk about the Lego game right now. We're doing science. They tend to be nearsighted, which means they see things better than the closer they are, and their ears are rather small for such a large creature. Picture again of the bear. The most prominent feature on a bear's face is, you guessed it, the mouth, which opens wide in a lengthy growl when the bear is threatened. Inside the big bear mouth are the teeth that are placed in order carnivora. Except for polar bears, however, the back molars are not nearly as sharp as those found in most meat eaters. They're blunter, like clean eaters for grinding up vegetarians. Or vegetation, not vegetarians. There's a good picture of the mouth.
Mom, I don't want out in my
I'm going to take away the Legos if you're going to create a fight, Guinevere.
I really want to know it.
How do you think the biggest bear grows? If you have a tape measure, how big do you think the biggest bear grows? If you have a tape measure out 11 feet from the ground up, that's bigger than Daddy. So bears, Edward, are you paying attention? Bears are bigger than Daddy. They're almost twice as big as Daddy. That's a Daddy standing on top of Daddy. That's how big bears are. That may be higher than the ceiling in your house. Imagine in that space standing before you a fully grown brown bear. That's how big they grow. Yes, that might be a bit frightening. Even if it were just teasing you, one swipe with its powerful paw and you would be a mess. In fact, that is all it takes for a bear to kill a small animal, a single blow from its paw. Most bears are smaller than the brown bear, but all bears are fairly big when fully grown. Even the sun bear, the smallest species of bears, can weigh almost 150 pounds when grown. To make themselves seem even bigger, they can stand up on 2 legs and even walk a few steps. Thankfully, bears tend to stand down on all 4s most of the time. They only get up on their hind legs when they feel threatened, need a better look, or are trying to reach something high in the tree. Oops. They tend to lumber around slowly unless they really need to run. They only run if they are chasing another creature or being chased themselves. Some bears can run faster than 30 miles per hour, so they usually catch what they chase. Most bears also have the ability to climb trees. Did you hear that? Most bears can climb trees. Even though they seem cute and cuddly, bears are rather gruff and rough.
Baby bear can.
Yeah.
How? Yeah, but how can Dad climb trees?
They just can. They're made that way.
I said Dad.
Our dad?
Yeah.
Well, we're not talking about our dad climbing trees. He's just good at it. Where am I? Male bears are especially willing to clash with, let's see, that's most, even though they seem cute and cuddly, bears are rather gruff and rough, particularly when they encounter another bear. Male bears are especially willing to clash with other males during mating season. So since they do not help the female raise the cub, they may kill and even eat their own cub if they encounter it alone in the forest. It's a good thing that human daddies don't do that. Guys, we're not playing with Legos. You're listening. If I have to, you will have them taken away and you can sit on the floor. However, there are some times when bears come together in peace to hunt for salmon in the rivers. Do you know that many bears do during the winter? Do you know what they do? They sleep. They sleep all winter long.
Mama is getting out of here.
She's fine. Because of that, people say they hibernate.
Hibernate.
But that's not really true. If you took Zoology 1, you know that when an animal really hibernates, its breathing slows down a lot and its body temperature lowers to a point where it's almost the same temperature as the surrounding air. Bats hibernate like that. Bears do not. After filling up with all they can eat from spring to fall, bears retire to a special den.
Why does bears not?
Because their temperature doesn't drop. For a long winter nap, living off the body fat for the entire time. Because their breathing and body temperature decreases only a little during this period, we see the bears experience dormancy during the winter. Dormancy is a state of temporary inactivity, a long, quiet nap. An animal that is truly in the state of hibernation, like a bat, is not easily awakened. A bear, however, is quite easily awakened from its winter's rest. A mother bear can even give birth to cubs during dormancy. The nearly hairless cubs snuggle up next to mother bear, keeping warm in her thick fur. Because bears can live in harmony with people, their survival becomes threatened when people develop... because bears can't live in harmony with people, their survival becomes threatened when people develop cities in their territories and chase them out of the area. They are also hunted for their fur. In China, bears are endangered than in other areas. This is because bears are hunted for their gallbladder and pituitary gland, which are used in Chinese folk medicine. Though many bears are threatened, conservation laws have completely changed the endangered status of two bears. Because of strict laws, they have been made to protect them. The American black bear and the polar bear are no longer endangered. Now these two bear species are found in large numbers of their specific habitats. If you see a polar bear in the wild, it is a good idea to get to a safe place. Polar bears will consider any large creature to be food. If you see an American bear in the wild, it will probably be looking for food as well. However, it isn't interested in eating people. It is interested in eating the things people eat, like chips, hot dogs, and hamburgers. Don't feed them. Read on to learn why. And we'll read that tomorrow. Can you say goodbye, Gwynnie?
I'm having Star Wars. And goodbye. And I have a spaceship.
Oh, Edward, you need to go away from us more.
Lot of phones. Goodbye.
Edward, can you shout goodbye from in there?
What?
Can you shout goodbye from in there?
Goodbye.
Say goodbye.